One.
Welcome to this week's edition of the MMA Analysis podcast. I am your host, Lance Fishel. It happened.
It happened.
It happened.
It fucking happened.
We knew it was going to happen, but it still feels so good.
It was, yeah, and it was perfect. It was like, I don't think I would have, despite the roller coaster and me dying, when the finish happened, I was laying in the ground in like fetal position. At that point, like I was like, it felt like I had won the belt, and man, everything. I don't even know what else to say. It was absolutely perfect. And if you would have looked at like my Twitter and my mentions and everything I got, like you might have thought like I had just won the lottery, that like my son had just won, a UFC. I must have had 150 people send me messages like you would have thought like that was me who won the belt. And man, it was fabulous. And he does it with his improved striking. And the biggest rap in his heart, in his balls.
Hey, Maddie. Is he a quitter? Is he still a quitter? Like, hey, Luca. He's really a quitter?
He said he was really after the fight.
Get the fuck out of here.
He tried to quit, Wes. Didn't you see the fight? He tried to quit.
He crawled to the door.
Unbelievable, bro.
He served it on a platter to Michael Chandler, and Chandler said, no thanks.
Yeah. The whole thing is like the fact that happened like that, where he gutted it out, like just gutted it out. I mean, he took a beating in that first round. He got beat up.
Isn't that the epitome of his career change right there?
Knockout after surviving.
Yep. That is it's so perfect, man. So perfect. Yeah. And the shit that finished him, dude, like I've watched that clip over probably 20 times.
So clean.
As perfect as you, I mean, not just the punches, but the slip, everything. Coming back up. But it was perfect, man.
Yeah. Well, I know the announcers in UFC suck, but one thing that they talked about in Bronx's last fight and this fight is he throws everything straight, and he's actually become very technical with his striking. He doesn't throw these, like, when you see jiu-jitsu guys and wrestlers like become better strikers, you always see these like wide punches and these looping shots. Bronx is extremely tight with his striking, and that wasn't some big, like, it wasn't some like wind up shot or anything. It was just a clean technical shot.
Punch. Yeah.
He followed up like a pro. He didn't freak out. He was calm. He was collective. He moved in. He got his kill, and man, it was great. And Michael Chandler made some mistakes in that fight. I mean, I think if Michael Chandler was a lot smarter, I don't know if we would have seen that second round, but he wasn't. And I think it's Bronx, man. I
don't know that you can say that.
Yeah, I thought Chandler did everything that he could have done.
Like everyone's saying that falling into the ground. Everyone's saying that that's a mistake. Like
I did.
Where did Paul Felder beat the shit out of him? Like
he was too cocky. And
he's a different guy than Bronx is a different guy. I think Bronx was badly hurt. I think if Chandler doesn't jump into a place where even when hurt and everything else, Bronx is comfortable. I think if that fight goes up, Chandler lands one shot, that could have been finished.
That's the one spot where Bronx is not super dangerous, is from his back. He's a good grappler from his back.
When he's hurt,
maybe.
And Chandler was landing bombs.
Yeah.
And I mean, how do you know that he waits for the time it takes Bronx to get back up? The ref separates him. He lets him back up. That's all time he's recovering and stuff too. I thought Chandler did what he should have done there. He was on his back though, hammering him with fucking I thought it was over. Like at that point, I was like,
when Bronx was doing this number on the ground, I was like, oh, not like this. I was like,
man, a different referee, a shittier referee might have stopped that.
A bad ref.
But at the same time, like, yes, it looked bad and he was doing that, but Bronx he never stopped defending. He never stopped moving. There was never a part where the ref's screaming fight back and it's about to be over. Bronx had his wits about him the whole time, and he was moving, he was defending. And when he got to the ground, like, yes, he was taking shots on the ground, but they weren't like these death blows when he got on top towards the end. He was doing what he had to survive. And it's funny, as bad as that round went, and like he got his ass whooped. I was watching with like three people, and I was looking at my dad and a couple of my buddies over, and I was like, Chandler's gassed. I was like, do you see this man in this corner? And I was like, Bronx is going to come back and win. And I was confident that like Chandler looked gassed. And I was like, this fight's going to start out, and if Chandler's tired and Bronx striking, like, it's there. And that's what I was thinking, and it came true. And yeah, Luca literally after that, the guts and the balls that Bronx took to win this belt said, He actually did quit, and he tried to quit, but Chandler wouldn't let him.
Like,
Didn't take it.
And the problem with even that statement is like, there's a ton of guys that's never been accused of quitting in anything that would have been done right there. They'd have been over. That fight would have been done with. Like,
Dan Hooker.
Yep.
And like coming out for the second, like I don't even Chandler being tired or none of it had anything to do with it. Chandler throws some lazy ass punch to start the round
and stayed in the pocket
and
didn't get out of range.
Though Bronx did. I think like a lot of guys, they don't realize that length that guy has. Like though Bronx is long as hell, man. Yep. Landed a perfect punch, bro. I wanted it that way. I think I said it on the show last week. I wanted him to knock him out. Like some people wanted him to choke him. I wanted the knockout. That was comeback. Awesome.
The knockout. I mean, it was, if we could draw this up to, put the demons away, put the past behind us, and what everyone has said about this gorgeous man that I've been a fan of for over 10 years, for this all, it was amazing. And like, even at the start of the second round, like after that beating, sometimes you see guys like a minute later, you're back up. We're in the cage, we're fighting. You see some guys look tired, beat up, like worried, breathing. Bronx looked like that was the start of the first round.
Like the start of the fight.
Ready to go.
He came forward even harder at the start of the second round than he did in the first round. And that's part of what let him land shit so quickly is he just like any distance that there was between them, he just evaporated it. He was like, nope.
And now we already got these fucking morons who Lance continues to have fucking interactions with.
What did I do? What do I do?
Poirier, Smokey, McGregor. Little Smoke. Get the fucking. What do y'all even see anymore?
So the people that are saying this stuff, like they completely skipped the part of the fight where Chandler had to survive Bronx being on his back.
Where those other two guys you just listed probably get tapped the fuck out.
I can be honest. I can be honest for a second. When Bronx took his back and did not get a finish, I was like,
uh-oh.
Yeah.
No.
But that's what made it better. He got his position, he didn't finish it, and he didn't quit, and then he gets fucking cracked, doesn't quit, and comes back and finishes.
It was I had all these guys just like always, right? I don't know how I draw attention to like the biggest idiots of all time constantly. And after the fight, this guy was just yelling at me about something, and he was complaining that he said the fight should have been stopped in the first round, and then the finish by Bronx was an early stoppage.
Oh God, come on! I mean, Chandler's out of it. Like,
did you see how happy Chandler was? Well, he was getting knocked out. I mean, that
yes,
done.
Joker.
Yeah, I mean that was incredible.
Like Chandler's the one guy, like one of the few guys in that division that survives that back take. Like he's choking out McGregor in seconds. He gets his back. Dustin might survive. Who fucking knows? He's getting choked out. Like,
well, Chandler's also, especially in the first round, like, and how he got out of this. He's a powerful dude. Like, he got out of that through
stupidly athletic.
Yeah,
stupidly athletic.
He's
and hits like a truck.
Built like a truck. Yeah,
like the man hits like a truck, dude. Like,
we said last week, we didn't give the most straight breakdowns on this fight, but we said this before, like in the year prediction show, that Chandler is probably the most difficult matchup for Bronx in the division
because of the wrestling and the power. Yeah, I mean, power wrestlers. That's where Bronx has struggled. The fights that he's lost, a lot of them have been against these powerful type wrestlers, and that's what gave him fits. And now I look at this division. With this top five, and we said this a couple weeks ago, anyone can beat anyone, right? But I thought Chandler was the most difficult of all the matchups. Apparently, I'm wrong. Apparently, Conor McGregor, he won left. It's over. Conor McGregor knocked someone out 5 years ago. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Like, can we get over this shit? Like, nobody can survive. Like, everybody survives the left now. Like,
he's knocked out one person.
Staggers you.
He's knocked out one person above 145 pounds with that left.
You know who hits harder than Conor McGregor?
Chandler.
Michael fucking Chandler. That's who hits harder.
Like, yeah, he does, and it's not close. And when I look at these matchups, and yes, Conor could. I do work like with Bronx a moment. Who knows how people are going to act when you face Conor McGregor in a main event of a pay-per-view? You don't know how people are going to act. You don't know the butterflies and the experience. It is a different feeling, even versus fighting for a title when you're fighting Conor McGregor. But at the same time, if I want to break that fight down from just stylistically and who these guys are, in what universe does Bronx instantly not push Conor McGregor against the cage, drag him to the ground, and choke him out by however he feels like? And I think Poirier, right? Like, yes, Poirier, I think if they were on the feet, I'd actually be more scared of Poirier striking than Conor striking, because Conor gasses out and he's just aiming for that big left, where Poirier is more of a technical striker who can last longer, but Poirier can't wrestle either. And I don't know. And then we got this idiot Dariush like, I'm next. I'm like, who are you? Who are you? I don't know.
You just beat a literal ghost in your last fight.
And you didn't even, it was like Bronx like embarrassed and dominated and hurt Tony. Dariush like laid and prayed, a dead body.
He landed half. Bronx wasn't landing that much ground and pound against Tony, and Dariush landed half as many. Mm-hmm. He did nothing,
and he didn't go for subs, like except for the.
I mean, he did tear his knee up.
Yeah, he did.
Well, except for the leg lock, though, he wasn't going for like other subs. He wasn't doing too many transitions. Like, he didn't look overly good to me, and I do think I think it's obvious, depending on timing, though, right? It depends what Bronx wants to do and what the UFC wants to do. I think they could and how quick he wants to fight, right? If Bronx wants to fight in August, right? Maybe he fights Justin Gaethje. And maybe the winner of, Conor McGregor and Dustin are going to fight the winner of that one. That's a possibility. Or, Bronx sits out until, God, you'd have to think, October? Does he want to sit out 6 months? I don't know.
The division just got very, very interesting.
So good.
Yep.
To me, this is one of the best divisions when you look at a top 5 or 6 I think I've ever seen, because usually when we see these, even the good divisions that are like the top 7 or 8 are really good, usually like there's one guy that's just way above, and even though 2 through 6 are good, the one guy can't be beat, so it doesn't matter. Bronx is amazing, but Bronx, we can all be honest, he can be beat.
We had that. Yeah, we had that in this division.
And was 155?
No, we didn't.
That
bitch ran away.
I don't know, but
ran away.
Yeah. So like that's what makes this division so happy, like so awesome. Like the number 6 guy, the number 5 guy versus there's so many good matchups, and if any of those guys face each other and one of the other lost, literally nothing would overly surprise me, right? Like when you look at Gaethje, Bronx, throw Chandler in there. If Chandler can knock out any of those guys too, Chandler could beat any of them. It's a awesome division. And Bronx is 31. He is a 31-year-old
with fucking 20-something UFC fights, records, and 31 years old. He's not like a Jose 31 or Conor 31.
Well, there's that to be said about him getting out there a bit early in some of his previous fights. Is he hasn't taken the shit that some of those other guys have taken.
Made good business decisions.
And honestly, I was surprised. I knew Bronx had a ton of fights in the UFC before he won the belt, but I was surprised that he actually set the record for most before winning. I thought it was going to be like Bisping or something like that.
Yeah. Bisping's like one behind him or something.
Is he?
Like yeah. Yep.
And I think this was also a bit different than Bisping's to me. Bisping kind of luck stacked into the title. Let's be real. Like he got that Rockhold fight out of luck. Right? Like it just kind of happened.
Short notice.
A fight fell out, like a short notice, whatever, and he won the belt. Good for him. He did it. And that's fucking awesome. Bronx had to win 8 straight to get this title shot and did everything he could. And now we have one of the most exciting, champions there are, and a guy who likes to stay active. Like in the past where Bronx hasn't fought as much because he couldn't get anyone to sign on the dotted line. And I think this is the guy who's going to fight. And I actually do think he's going to fight Gaethje next. I think it's going to be Bronx Gaethje. I think we'll see it it depends how quick he wants to come back. I would guess maybe it's mid-August we see Bronx versus Gaethje is my guess.
That's an interesting fight, but after that, watching that Gaethje takedown defense in the last one, I know he's not going to be, but I could see Bronx getting that body lock and putting it to the mat.
Different kind of takedowns,
embarrassing on the ground.
Yeah, that was bad. And the other thing about Bronx is you talked about the winning streak that he's been on. This kind of speaks to how badly the UFC fucks up in most situations, because this is like the one guy where he went through a bunch of shit, had a bunch of wins and losses, and then he got built back up slowly, gained confidence, and then turned into the fighter that he could have been all along.
It also helps when nobody wants to fight you.
But yeah,
So
but early on,
kind of
That doesn't
slowly
help all the
build.
boring Russians.
he
Sure.
fought like his first fight was at like what 21 and fought.
Was it Efrain Escudero was his first one? I think.
No, he
No,
fought.
Elkins was his first one, wasn't it?
He had like some really tough fights early in his.
Oh yeah, he fought like Jim Miller, his third
Jim
fight
Miller,
in the UFC.
Cowboy.
Yeah.
and was fighting those guys when they were like really good, weren't fucking
Yeah.
completely fucking
Yeah.
washed.
Yep. Yeah, he fought. It was Elkins first, and then Escudero, and then they gave him Jim Miller, who at that point Jim Miller was Jim Miller, and then Lentz, who whatever beat him, and then Cowboy. And then he had Cowboy, and then he had a couple easy ones, and then Cub Swanson and Frankie Edgar.
Yep.
And then if you
Max
look at it,
He was like 21 or something like that.
If
20 or
you
21
look at his losses, they're all top tier guys. Like he wasn't.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't one of those things
Especially
where he
at
was
the
losing
time.
bum. Yeah.
Yep.
So, all hail Do Bronx. Honestly, that was, I would say, top 2 of my sporting life excitement and like just everything that went with it.
We were zooming and watching the fights, and after that happened, I told him, I was like, if the other Brazilian does that same thing in the fall and wins a title, this will rank way up there on one of my favorite years in college.
Yeah. I mean,
Glover and Bill Bronx in the same year. Like,
I was like emotional. I mean, the amount of time and energy I have spent on this man and the arguing and the fighting, like. So after he caught him, like I jumped out of my seat and I was like on the ground, and he won. I was just like, oh my! Like I couldn't believe it. Like even though I knew he was a favorite in this fight, I knew he could win. I thought he would win. There's just something about it. Like Charles Oliveira is the UFC champion. Who would have thought this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever? If I had told you Do Bronx is going to be champ, I don't think anyone would have believed you. But man, this guy, he earned it. And we saw the reactions from different fighters on Twitter and different areas. Like I've never seen a more just like everyone was saying the same thing. Like, God, this is great. Like this guy has went out there and earned it. He's been in the UFC forever.
They knew what he put in.
It.
The fighters know what he had to go through.
Yeah.
Like people not wanting to fight him, Dana not wanting to give him fights, or even like the big fights to get a title shot. So
people turning him down so he fights six times.
Better than when you're invested in a fighter and they come through. Like it's different than being invested in like a team or anything like that. When it's an individual and they come through like that, it's
not just the individual. Like because I root for individual. Like Jeff Gordon was one of my favorite sports figures ever. Andre Agassi. It's different when it's a fight and you're invested like that.
I think it's also different too. It's like let's say you were a fan of John Jones, right? John Jones win the title. Okay. Right, he was supposed to win the title. I think when it's a guy like this who you've seen go on this roller coaster and you've been a fan of him, you see like how much he's done. It's different, right? He wasn't supposed to be champ. This guy was never supposed to be champion. You look 5 years ago, there's no way in hell you'd be surprised. Maybe he could have been cut at one point, right? Like that's why I think makes this so much sweeter. It's the underdog story, right? And I think everyone kind of loves an underdog story. And this one played out perfectly. It really did. And there's so many fun fights up for him. And Derek Lewis is going to be champ this year. I mean, this is a crazy ass year.
Now you've gone insane. He's drunk on fucking.
Shout out to the head of the
me and Brad have already bet Munich
Champ fan club. Shout out
on Derek Lewis.
I might. I mean, it's going to be a silly line.
Plus 275.
You're getting hog stamped on that one.
Anthony Smith didn't fare so well when a dude broke into his house. Dude tried to break into Derek Lewis's car and he got the shit knocked out of him. So he's already got a leg up on that title challenger.
One of the two of those guys has been to prison, and that might tell you about defending against criminals.
Anthony Smith's been to prison? Do you steal a sub or something?
Anyway, let's cover the rest of this card, and we can go pretty quick here. So lightweight division, Christos Giagos defeated Sean Soriano. Kind of Soriano's career in a nutshell here. Giagos gets beat on the first round. Soriano gets caught in a sub. Ball game.
Oh, Brad, this fucking guy hit some nice parlay. Was this one of the props in it?
This was one of the props in it.
Nice.
Yeah. Started off nice.
Chagos is the perfect middle of the road fighter that has, decent enough wrestling and can slap a sub on every once in a while versus a guy like Soriano who has 5 minutes.
You made fun of me last week because I said he was going to get a finish. You're like, this guy hasn't finished in 27 years.
He hasn't. That was his first finish.
I know,
but he was fighting Sean Soriano.
I know. When he got that sub, I was like, I'm an idiot. It happens. But next up, featherweight division, Tucker Lutz defeated Kevin Aguilar. I was proud of myself here. Old Lance, it's betting Kevin Aguilar all day, every day in this matchup. You give me that slight underdog line and a guy I've won money on for a few fights. I passed on it, and I'm happy I did because he's worst. He's worst for sure.
That might be a theme to this event here, Lance.
A lot of worshing.
It got me. That slight plus money got.
Yeah, that was bad.
Lutz looked okay.
Lutz looks okay for 10 minutes, and then the third rounds with that dude are awful.
Not great. But he was never in trouble. He doesn't gas out to a level yet, and maybe it's Aguilar, but he doesn't seem to gas out to a level where I was worried about him dying or anything. He just seemed a little tired and takes it down from 100% to 80% in the third rounds. It wasn't like Claudio Silva 3 minutes into the fight blacking out and falling down.
And Aguilar pushed a really good pace in that fight.
He does, yeah. He did in that fight. He didn't look great by any means, and I don't know if he's completely washed really. I think he was facing a tough young kid.
He's also maybe just not very good.
Yeah, I honestly, yes. Has he ever been really good? We don't know, right? He's won some fights. He's had a couple knockouts. We've seen him in LFA, but yeah, I thought Lutz looked decent. I think this is a guy who's going to beat a lot of guys.
Probably.
All right, women's flyweight, Prisha Kachuruburu.
There's the banger. There's the banger for the boys.
You guys bet that?
By TKO.
No.
Brad bet it
Right
so
out
bad
of
his
parlay.
stream froze.
Yeah, he had that TKO with that sub and fucking hit a nice one.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, we had a couple comments I missed. Tim said he busted all over himself when Bronx won. Same. And then I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I cried. Did you guys cry?
So it was a typical Saturday night for you, Lance.
Sometimes Lance does that after sex.
Yeah.
I call that a normal Tuesday. Did you guys cry? Was there tears?
No.
There was lots of yelling and shit talking on the.
What about when Bronx
stream?
put his shirt over his head and he was crying and nothing?
I think at that point I was probably just talking with Wes and Andrew. So
we were kind of screaming and yelling.
I'm not a big sad crier. I don't cry due to sadness. I'm a big time happy crier all the time. I probably cry once a week. I would say a good cry. TV shows, I'll have a good cry even network shows, really bad shows. I'll have a good cry every now and then. It's good to cry. What did Jimmy V say?
Takes a real man to admit it, Lance.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing better than a happy cry. It makes you feel alive. What did Jimmy V say? Every day you need to. It's pray, cry, and something else. Feel emotions or something. I don't know.
That sounds dumb.
Yeah.
That guy sounds like he's probably dead with that kind of advice.
You don't know who Jimmy V is?
We know who Jimmy V is. That's how ruthless Brad is.
Oh, if you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a heck of a day. Quote.
That's different. That's different than what you said.
Well, I'm not very good, and these 10% sour IPAs will go to your head extremely quickly. What are the comments that we have here? Heard you guys are giving away a Jessica I 1 month free trial.
We can't afford that. Come on.
Celebration. That's a good
like
one.
72 Keltons, bro. God,
and that's from I can't pronounce your first. I'll try it. Ikakaya. Is that good? Korea. All right. And then our boy Hyper Blue, Great Potter pay-per-view is when the stream lagged and cut 30 seconds off the Mukagian fight.
Lucky.
That was good. Our boy Aaron Brondester, Saeed bets for this
Looking
week.
for Saeed bets of the week.
There's a dude that got knocked out by a Saeed that's fighting on this card, so I don't know.
Maybe we'll make a Saeed bet.
Maybe.
And then Steve,
I'm gonna we need to
need a counter put in Lance's window to clock how many times he says the word I. Well, I'm a selfish sales guy.
No Bronx winter week.
Oh, this guy said I got his name right. The first name? I feel like I just said a bunch of like vowels and consonants and just kind of stuck them together. But I'm glad I did that.
Judging by the name, I'm drinking an Aloha Sour in honor of our boy Aikaika.
That is an awesome name.
There you go.
That is.
All right, and then some dude, our boy Wayo, talked about hockey, and this is not a hockey podcast.
No.
Sorry. All right,
I'm surprised you knew that was hockey, if we're being honest.
I know. What can you say? I'm a big hockey guy.
Yeah.
Big hockey guy. All right, women's flyweight, Andrea Lee, Antonio Shevchenko. I was dying watching
The head and arm, baby.
the 4-minute triangle.
Oh,
She had no idea what she was doing. It was hilarious.
She's like, I know my legs go here, but then what happens?
And the only reason she got the arm eventually is because girl was just
She
like,
threw it in there.
Yeah,
Dude.
he's like,
Dude, that was
I'll take the plus money. It's one of the few bets I could actually.
Do I need to start betting on ladies' fights? I didn't bet any of this stuff.
It's getting to be that bad.
I didn't take that one. Although apparently a bunch of people were on the sub prop, which was like 1,000, which makes sense.
It does.
But then women's
that
MMA
line makes
does
sense.
what it does. Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. And then we had, I got this one wrong. Jordan Wright, the Beverly Hills Ninja, defeating Jamie Pickett by knockout. Man, like,
Well, I mean, it's got Marley too. So
Pickett. Oh, that makes sense because Pickett lands a good shot, goes in. He's like, "Well, I've never wrestled before. This seems like a good time." And then he leaves his head in there, and he's eating CTE elbows all day. Like that almost knocked me out right there. Man, what the fuck? All he had to do is keep distance and throw strikes, and he's getting right out of there. And people are talking about, oh, this kid's for real. Like, here we are again, right?
Perfect.
Nobody's.
Let them say that. Let them say it. I mean, you attract the weirdos on Twitter. So
Yeah.
who knows?
What have
It's
I
so
done?
bad.
Do you guys ever read my mentions? It is. It's bad. I mean,
I've got you muted.
We're there. You
Yeah.
argue, attack me. I had some good anti-Semitic stuff on Saturday, and I was like, "Not
that was
ruining my
solid,
night,
yep.
Nazi."
yeah. Lance has literal Nazis coming at him.
Yes, I don't know. Like, I'll literally tweet, "This line's off," and they'll be like, "You fucking Jew!" Like, well, all I said is I thought Dvořák should be, not a plus 150, but hey, man, you do you. And that was the guy who said he thought the Dvořák stoppage was bad.
Early.
That he thought Chandler
early.
was fine. God, kill me.
Intelligent folks on the internet.
Jordan Wright is horrible, and he's back in the ground with some fresh soil over top of him.
Yeah.
Watering.
Yeah, he's not good at all. The Beverly Hills Ninja. Yeah.
He's got that miracle grow in him right now because
Yeah.
that one's
It's gonna be
gonna
quick.
spout real
quick.
Super
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, when we go to featherweight division, Lando Venata defeated Mike Grundy. Split, which, no, not a split. There were some weird cards this week, but did Grundy just forget how to, I don't know what he's doing. He didn't set up his takedowns, for one. Like, I've learned how to wrestle in my life, right? I'm not some great wrestler or anything, but I know how to set up shots. And when you're a wrestler and you see something is not, like, everyone has a go-to shot or takedown that they like to shoot. When you see it's not working, you try something else, right? Like, I always shot a high crotch. I always went for high crotch, switch with a double, whatever. If it wasn't working, you know what I would do? Other things. I would do other things. I wouldn't just keep doing it. Motherfucker just grabbing he keeps grabbing one leg. I'm like, dude, you're shooting low on the legs. Go up a little bit, shoot more of a high double, like against the fucking waist, and drive him. How many times did he grab this motherfucker's one leg?
That's that Commonwealth bronze medalist technique right there.
Dude,
Yeah.
give me a break. That was embarrassing.
Yeah. Lando looked a lot better at
Lando knew how to
45.
wrestle.
Yet,
Yeah.
Lando put on the most consistent performance of his life.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, he looked really good at 45. We were talking about it when it was happening. And Grundy, he kept getting a hold of him, and he would be on his waist. Lando would just turn and fight hands like every single time.
Yep.
He'd just turn his back and then fight hands and break away. That happened like 15 times in the fight.
He never
do
went
something
for a,
do something else, bro.
He never went for more of like a high waist, like standard double. Like, if I have a guy that's squirmy like that, stop fucking shooting singles, right? Like, stop shooting outside singles and stuff like that. Like, get in there, tuck your fucking head in, lock your hands under his fucking ass, and drive. Get both legs in there, because when you go low, those squirmy guys can get out of there.
Yeah, Lando's takedown defense looked as good as it ever had. He looked decent in that fight at 145. I mean, I don't know how good he really is, but I want to see more at 45. I mean, I thought he looked pretty good.
I think he's there to stay from some of the comments in the interview and stuff like that. I think it's good for him. And I think Lando's always been like the fun guy, and I throw these fun kicks. And like, to me, like, he didn't do a lot of that this time. He looked like a fighter. Like, he looked like he took it seriously. And sometimes, there's fighting's so mental, right? Like, maybe one little thing mentally, he's like, I'm going to 45. This is real for me now, right? Like, I'm going to kill myself to make this weight. And if I show up, I want to do good. So good for him. We'll see what happens next. All right, middleweight division. We don't talk about this very long, but I'm glad I didn't bet Jacare. I bet the doesn't go. Super happy. Andre Muniz defeated Jacare. Armbar, broke that shit. And, man, that was there was a lot that was surprising about this, obviously, with Jacare. Obviously, he's getting subbed for the first time ever. The slickness of this submission. That shit. This dude, I don't know. I was super fucking impressed. I know Jacare's washed and shit, but Jacare's not like jiu-jitsu washed. He can't take
That was sloppy. That was sloppy.
He looked good early. I mean, he looked
leaving that arm in there like that was pretty sloppy.
He's never been scared of a fucking sub because he's Jacare.
Well, he might be dumb washed.
He's got 50-year-old bone marrow now.
That's the thing here that we're not talking about is he wasn't really in a submission. Like, his arm was in there and he tried to like switch his hips to get out of it, and his arm just snapped.
Yeah. Man, the sound
though, man, that guy's gonna beat a lot of people.
They literally thought that he tapped. That shit popped. So
he didn't tap. He didn't tap.
I know it.
He didn't even
the commentators
flinch.
Like Rogan and was like, "Oh, he tapped. He tapped."
I was
like, no,
tap.
dude, his arm fucking just blew up.
Yeah.
What are you
And then
talking
he was
about?
just like, "Huh." Would you look at
and
that?
then didn't even make a fucking. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, completely insane. He didn't even make a fucking face. He was like.
It was like nothing. It was like, man, I dropped a quarter. Shit.
At first, I thought it was like the Tim Sylvia, Frank Mir, like forearm break.
Mm-mm.
And then, obviously, we saw the
That has to
replay.
hurt.
And the old funny bone.
We watched it kind of two Brazilian legends like that both get their arms snapped over the last decade. Yeah, the same shit. Jacare, like, he's done, man. Even though he looked good early.
Before this. I don't know what you guys were thinking.
I mean, he looked good early, dude. He got a takedown, was on top and shit, working like he looked pretty good. He done.
Here's where you guys should have known not to bet Jacare. When I didn't bet Jacare. If that's not the and I said that
I stayed away.
Like, if that's not the biggest give, if I am not betting on Jacare or Chris Weidman, like, if I know one of my favorite fighters is washed and I don't bet on him and I bet against him or something else, like, you best believe he's worst. Like, he's starting center for the Washington football team. Anyway, R.I.P. Jacare. Let's move on to the main card. This was great. Middleweight division, Edson Barbosa defeated Shane Burgos. This is a winner. Was this consensus this week?
No.
What?
It wasn't.
What do you mean? Was this consensus this week?
Oh,
Yeah,
Dvořák.
Go
Bronx.
Bronx.
Yeah.
Munich? Was this Munich, I mean?
No, the Ferg was.
Oh. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think we all bet Barbosa, though.
I bet him.
He looked,
I
man,
had him inside, yeah.
he can beat anyone at 145. Anyone. You're
He
telling me
looks
Barbosa can't beat Volkanovski?
Yeah,
You can't keep it on the feet and
nasty.
beat him?
And that's a guy that you would think would give him troubles because of his forward pressure, but he was just able to counter him. I mean, Burgos is hittable, so that helps. Those leg kicks, those calf kicks.
the leg kicks, like we were talking about it. Nobody has. I can't remember an MMA that consistently and brutally throws leg kicks like Edson Barbosa has for a decade against everybody. And, like, he took some punches from Burgos, man, and that dude still got a granite chin. Like,
and he took some big body shots too. Like, Burgos was ripping the body, and he was just like,
durable.
whatever.
Yeah, he's still a durable fucking dude, man.
Yeah.
Chin is still granite. He's a problem down there, man. And that late reaction knockout was fucking awesome, man. And
So
I know they took him to the hospital afterwards. I was saying at the time, like, they better check that guy because those are bad. When you have those delayed fucking knockouts to the head, not a body shot, that shit ain't good.
Like the body shots, it's like someone asked me, like, you've seen this before, and I was like, I see it with liver shots. I don't know if I've ever seen it with like a headshot, right? Because it wasn't also like 2 seconds; it was like 6.
Yeah,
I've seen it in
long time.
seen it in boxing.
Like it was like he got hit, and he was like about to throw, then he was like, "Oh, fuck!" Ah!
That usually could almost mean a brain bleed and shit.
He was fine though. They checked him out, all that shit, and that was a great fight, man. I don't think I take Burgos down a peg at all. I'm like, that guy's a gamer. Like, I mean, he stood toe to toe with Barbosa. He ate the leg kicks like they were nothing. Like that did not. I know Rogan and them like to make it seem like you're being amputated, but I didn't think the leg kicks affected him much. I mean, Burgos was actually getting stronger throughout that second round, and you can make an argument he won the second round.
Yeah,
I think they were having an impact.
They were, but they weren't debilitating.
No,
but they slowed him down.
Yeah,
they slowed him down, kept him in the pocket.
I scored the second for Barbosa, but I wouldn't have been violently against a 1-1 going to the third.
One of the judges had it even going into the third.
Yeah, I don't hate that card. I thought it was close. I thought Barbosa did more. I thought he had a little more damage. But that was a great fight, man. And I don't know who Barbosa is going to get next. I'd have to pull up the old rankings, but he's not young, and I think there were some bullshit decisions that he had, obviously, with Dan Ige and some other ones, and I think and you got to move him up quick. Like I don't give a shit where he's ranked. Like I think Barbosa needs to face someone in the top 5, unless the UFC just really hates Giga.
I said that after the Giga fight. Give him the winner of Barbosa and Burgos. Let's do it. He's the greatest striker ever, man.
Well, I know Barbosa was asking for like a top 5, and I would too. Like I think there's a lot of guys in the top, anyone in the top 5, right? I don't know if Yair's still alive or Korean Zombie's still alive, any of those guys.
Cater.
Calvin Cater's a good fight. Josh Emmett's ranked 6. I think he's dead. Arnold Allen's English. So I mean, it could be Giga. It wouldn't surprise me. I think Yair versus Edson Barbosa is a kick-ass fight, and I think it's embarrassing that Yair Rodriguez is ranked number 3 because he's not the 3rd best fighter in that division.
That can't be real.
I know, it's depressing, isn't it? I mean, yeah,
it's such a good division too.
It's man, the lower weight classes are just bangers. It's real good. Mugagian defeated some chick. I didn't pay too much attention. This is when I caught up on Twitter because I can't really keep up with Twitter. But I thought I scored this fight for not Mugagian. Was I wrong?
It was close.
I didn't really pay attention.
I bet Araujo, so I'm a little biased, but I thought it was a close fight. Araujo just didn't do much on the fucking ground. Is the
facing
problem.
Mugagian, you don't do much. You just wait till the bell.
Yep.
This chick sucks, man. Like, does the UFC not understand what they're doing when they have her on these main cards? Like, everyone's just laughing. No one enjoys it. And she seems like a terrible person, doesn't she?
I don't know about that. I mean,
she's equal opportunist. She's a fan of the
the
hogs,
only
just
thing
like
that's the only thing that's interesting about her is that she likes porn with giant black dicks. So. And then claims she's been hacked. So she makes that uninteresting too.
Who doesn't? I get it. Anyway, I don't care. Catch weight fight. Rogerio missed weight at 135 when he's a flyweight. I was so close to betting Snell throughout the week. I ended up laying off. And I don't know, did Snell look bad or Bontoron? What did I say? Bontoron.
Bontaran. This new stick and move Schnell is not the style for him.
No.
He needs to stop it. I don't know who told him that was a good idea. This shit needs to stop immediately because he is not good at it.
Yeah, Bone Turn, he looked good to me. I got some dog money, but Brad's right. Schnell can't. That's just not his game, man. Especially against a guy like this. You're not going to be able to do it to him, and it just doesn't work for Schnell. And that's twice I've lost a good chunk on Schnell fights. going the distance, and never again until I see him go back to how he used to fight, because this is not good.
He used to just be kind of like a lunatic.
Yeah, and he won.
Yeah,
that's how he won his fights. He would catch guys and shit. Like, this ain't it.
Not a lunatic anymore. And then just really depressing. Medeiros defeated Tony Ferguson, unanimous decision. Nothing to say here. Dariush moved like way up the fucking rankings, and I think like people aren't like, are we really gonna like Dariush is ranked above Michael Chandler?
What?
Like, I know the rankings don't mean shit. Like, I get that, but at the same time, like, we're really gonna rank Dariush above Chandler, and like Tony Ferguson, 6th in the world. Did that look like the number 6th ranked fighter in the world to you? What's more far-fetched, Dariush 3 or Ferguson 6th? Ferguson shouldn't even be top 10. And if Dariush Chandler, who wins that fight 9 times out of 10? Dariush is dead. Man, I hope they make that fight. This man's calling out Bronx. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Like, get the back of the line. Like,
that would be a big bet, I think.
How is Chandler Dariush not the next fight?
The only way it's not is if it's Chandler Gaethje.
Man, I like Chandler. I actually became a Chandler fan this week, I think.
He seems like a good dude.
Just a good. I'm gonna text him, see if we can go out for a beer. He lives right down the street. Just, you know, see what's up. But man, like how he took that loss, just like the pre-fight too. He was very respectful pre-fight, and like I don't need this animosity and all this bullshit before fights. Like I sometimes like just respect before fights, and I thought Chandler took the loss well, took the pre-fight well. I don't want Chandler coming off a loss to Dvořák fighting Gaethje, because he loses that fight, you lose 2 in a row, like you're down, man. Take Dariush. That's an easy fight. And Dariush is basically the same rank as Gaethje.
Yeah. But is Gaethje or Poirier ranked number 1?
Poirier.
Right now.
Poirier, Gaethje, Dariush. Like, give me a fucking break, Dariush ranked 3.
Really done, man. But Tony 6 might be just as bad.
That's just as bad.
It's not 6.
They're right there. I mean,
that dude's game, his style is stuck in like 2004.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah.
Well, the funny thing about 155, we talked about how strong it is. 1 through 6, really, right? Like Dvořák, Poirier, Gaethje, Dariush, Chandler, McGregor. And then you got like Ferguson, RDA, Hooker, Felder. I'm like, I think 2 of those guys are retired. Like it really drops down after you get past Mike Chandler in those rankings. But yeah, I think this weight class it's really easy to figure out what's next for each, depending on how quick Conor McGregor or how quick Dvořák wants to fight, if he wants to wait for Conor, which I suspect Dvořák will want to wait for Conor. Easiest style matchup, biggest butt payday, but.
McGregor's never going to fight him, so we don't have to worry about that.
Can you believe Conor even just uttering that man's name? Like that's like you get in the fucking when you're a kid, you get in the bathroom, you turn out the light and you say Bloody Mary 10 times, man. You got to be careful. You got to be careful with that shit, Conor. You can't be saying Dvořák's name too many times. You might tap out. All right, let's move on to next week's card, which I got to say it's really fucking bad. It is.
I'm getting a beer first. I need to.
Cool.
You get a beer. We'll get started. Me and Wes are going to be watching these fights together. Probably God, what time? The card starts at like 6. Like we're going to be like probably like 37 Habibs deep.
Done rode 7 hard 8s. Smoked a couple tables and go watch fights.
So many hard 8s. Like I might be 3-card poker drunk. 3-card poker drunk for me is where I reach the level of drunkenness and I'm like, I'm gonna play 3-card at straight flush time, baby.
The early prelims start at 4 Eastern.
Yeah, we're not gonna watch those. Let's see. I gotta see Yancy Medeiros fights.
Yep.
I might have it on the phone.
Well, the sports book there from the pictures I saw. I don't know if you've been. Have you been to that sports book?
Yeah.
Like it looks like a pretty big sports book, and there's some shit around it. So
it's decent, and you can kind of stay in. But they got a lot of the shit separated. But they took away their mask and distancing policy today. Caesar's property.
Fuck yes.
So
did they really?
Yeah, it started today.
I've been looking every day because I'm like, every Caesars property besides the one I'm going to has no mask, and I'm like, I'm fully vaccinated.
Yeah, Caesars did. I'm probably gonna still wear my mask a little bit.
I'm not gonna wear a mask, but I won't give it to you. I'm good.
It's a lot of fuckers. Yeah.
Because I've been looking and Vegas opened all the Caesars properties, and my brother, because he has to work this weekend, he went on Monday, Tuesday. So Corey and his girlfriend were there Monday, Tuesday, and they had full masks. Social distancing, all that, and I knew they were going away with it, but
they did it. I think starting today. Is when it was, but I'm hoping like they put the chairs back in the sports book section because they had them all like distance and shit, so it was like just maybe a third of the seats in there.
Well, the worst part about mask rules at casinos is not even the mask thing. I think we're all used to wearing masks besides the red hat wearers. You can't drink at the tables when they got the mask rules. So if I'm going to drink 37 Habibs by 5 p.m., I got to drink at the tables.
You got to drink or gamble. You can't drink and gamble. Like, what kind of world is this?
Yeah, I know.
What happened to your freedom, Lance?
But yeah, I know.
Oh, we got it back. I was just telling you. They got the freedom back over there.
Yeah, no masks this weekend apparently at the casino, which my brother was like, there's masks and everywhere and like it's social distancing and they're missing chairs and everything. And then we get there like 3 days later and we got full sports book and all that.
That was today, yeah.
I might be my buddy Gamlu drunk on Saturday watching the fights, just Red Bull on the rocks. Or not Red Bull, Fireball on the rocks.
Oh, wow.
I took a Fireball shot a couple weeks ago. I don't remember why, but it happened.
Why?
I was at a restaurant with my brother's girlfriend, and she's like, I'm ordering shots, I'm getting tequila, and I was like, rather die. And she's like, what will you take? And I was like, I guess Fireball. And there we are. Anyway, let's cover this card. We start in the lightweight division. We have Rafael Alves taking on Damir Ismagulov, who's a boring Russian who likes to go to decision. Nishan.
The boringest.
Oh,
I don't know. That's a contentious battle. There's a lot of them. I don't know. He is very boring.
Boring.
On the flip side, Alves has 9 professional losses. He's been finished 9 times. So this shit is gonna get put to the test.
Damn. This is something. What's the line that doesn't go? This seems right up my alley. I'm gonna have like 10 bets in this card because I'll be drunk watching the book.
Yep.
Under 2.5 is like plus 165, I think.
Yeah.
I
plus
wanted
150, 165.
Yeah, but it's the boringest Russian, Lance.
It's tough.
What do you take here?
The boring Russian by decision is still juiced. It's minus 125.
Plus 200 on boring Russian inside the decision.
Yeah.
I know.
Terrifying. I'm not touching this. Ismagulov as like a minus 600 favorite is a bit crazy, but he is boring, so he's going to probably make fights boring and safe, and he'll probably win.
Yeah, probably. Wes?
Yeah, he's gonna win here. I mean, he's just better than this guy. It's just, will he get a finish? Man, you're talking about the most boring Russian. This has decision written all over it to me, even against this fucking guy. I can't see Ismagulov finishing a fucking 6-inch Subway turkey plug that Lance apparently doesn't need anymore. So, I'm going to say Ismagulov by decision, man. It's just hard to see him finishing anybody. But if he can, this is probably the guy.
Brad?
I'm so conflicted. I mean, you've got the most boring Russian, and you've got a guy who has never lost by anything but finish. Like...
You like
two worlds colliding.
You like concrete results. Like if you're going to lose a decision, you might as well quit.
Yeah, I don't know. I might end up with like a plus 200 on a boring Russian to get a finish. Like that's what 2021's doing to me, folks.
What a year, baby! This is the year. Yeah, I think boring Russian wins. I know he's boring, but he's going to put a lot of pressure. He's going to do ground and pound. And if you have a guy who quits a lot, they look for opportunities to quit. If he loses huge the first 2 rounds, gets taken down early the 3rd round, we could totally see a quit job. Just throw a couple punches. The guy's going to quit. Maybe put his arm like this and be like, hey, how about this number? You want to get in there? So we could see a finish, but at the same time, like, man, it's hard to bet a boring Russian inside the distance. You'd almost want way more than plus 200, even though he's facing a quitter, because even when you face quitters, these boring Russians find a way to keep it boring, get a decision, not pass, and just sit in the guard. So
I will say that Alves has never been actually knocked out in his fights. He's got like a leg kick TKO and an injury TKO and that sort of stuff.
That's a prime quitter right there.
Pure quit job.
Don't get hit in the face.
But most of the time when he quits by sub, and the boring Russian doesn't sub people. So, I mean, it's tough. It's a roller coaster in my mind right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one. All right, let's move to the lightweight division as we had Damir Hadžović versus Yancy Medeiros. I like Yancy fights. Some crazy shit's always gonna happen. You, Sean?
Yeah, he usually forces an action fight. Something's getting happen. He might be getting knocked out. Or, he could knock some people out too. I don't really like anything in this fight. Hadžović, he beat pretty shitty guys, and then he's lost to okay guys. Medeiros is kind of the same thing. It's a close fight. I think it's going to be action. I'll probably pick the dog in Toutmaster, but I don't really want to put money on either of these guys.
Wes?
Yeah, I mean, there could be anything happen in this fight. Yancey's fought the way better competition at this point, but man, he doesn't do well against them. I don't know. I kind of feel like Hadžović can put some pressure on Yancey, man. Yancey likes to back up, gets clocked when he gets going back up against the cage. I'm gonna pick Hadžović by a late stoppage, but man, I can't. I'll probably bet it when I'm drunk, but I'm not gonna suggest anybody.
We're gonna bet it.
Every fight. If you guys don't have a bet on every fight, you're doing something.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet on every fight besides the chick fights. Let's be real here, Wes. We're gonna.
I might have some on some chick fights.
Well, there you go. We're gonna spray Keltons all over this book. Brad, what do you got?
Yancey has fought the way better dudes, and the only thing holding me back from betting him right now, because he's the dog, which is kind of surprising to me, is that he seems unwilling to shoot a single takedown. If he was willing to shoot any takedown, even the bullshit that Mike Grundy was shooting last week, he would get Hadžović down, and he would win this fight. He can still win it if it's just on the feet, but it's definitely a harder path for him to win. But I still think that over 3 rounds, he's just going to end up throwing a bit more volume and probably land something big on Hadžović at some point, because that's what he tends to do. And as Lance said, wild shit happens in Yancey fights. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some wild exchange and either one of these guys goes out, but I'm going to pick Yancey.
You guys basically just talked yourselves into the bet that I'm already going to make.
Dog.
Doesn't go here. Doesn't go here as a pick'em. It's like minus 110, minus 115 for doesn't go. And Yancey gets knocked out, or he's going to knock a guy out. And I think he has a better chance than not of knocking this guy out. And if he doesn't, he's probably going to gas himself out and then get something bad to himself. And I do think this fight's mostly going to stay on the feet. Maybe some weird takedowns here and there. And I think they're going to be banging. I think they're going to get in each other's face. And I'm not that confident in either guy's chin to be able to take too much damage. And, there's some power there. And I think at a pick'em, I've been playing a lot more of these pick'em doesn't go the distance between, 2 guys who aren't very great. Usually 2 guys who aren't very great when they fight each other, they just fucking bang. And we see finishes. And I like that here. It's only minus 110, minus 115. So I'll be on that doesn't go the distance. All right. I don't know what this is. Featherweight division. Josh Culibao versus Xiaonan. I think that's the one who won Mortal Kombat 6.
We got another cute labia here.
Oh, is this cute labia's brother? I've never heard of it. So I didn't have. I was really busy at work this week because I'm out the next couple of days, and I did. If If I didn't know you off the top of my head, I was just moving on.
This Shaw dude is a bronze god. Look at his fucking Sherdog picture. Dude is tanned up.
And cute labia is brilliant, so he's not good at fighting.
Yeah, I got nothing on this fight.
Oh,
0.
this is the dude who fought Air Jordan.
Yeah. Knocked the Canadian down in the first, and then of course lost the next two.
He looked good. What's the line on this?
He's like minus 240.
Yeah.
Oh.
250.
Cute labia is?
Yeah.
Oh. This guy's the WLF Wars veteran out of China.
That's the Wu-Tang Fighting League.
Dang.
I don't like people playing with my phones. Brad, you got anything? Wes? Anyone?
Yeah, I just don't know anything about this other guy, man. It's a complete pass for me.
Bradley?
What I do know about this other guy, never seen him fight, no interest in watching him fight. He loses to a lot of not very good guys. And when he loses to these not very good guys, he gets stopped by them.
Who Wes take notice this Saturday?
Do you guys remember a couple weeks
I'm betting
ago?
Brad's props. Is what
You remember a couple weeks ago when all those Chinese fighters got shipped in and looked like absolute dog shit? And they told us, man, these are the greatest athletes that China's ever produced. These dudes were blowing people away in the Performance Institute. One of those dudes knocked this guy out in 2 minutes.
What's the line?
I've got some Culibao round 1 at plus 550.
Plus 5. What's
him inside the distance? Yeah. What's him inside back KO?
Him inside is 225.
Yeah, that's what we're betting, Lance.
Inside 225, TKO plus 310.
What is sub?
Sub is 840.
Boom, book it. Wes, take note.
Nah, I'm just taking some 225. I'm good with that.
This dude's lost 5 or 6 times, 4 subs. I don't know. He seems
he
like
got knocked out in 2 minutes by one of the shitty China people.
Dude, that's the Wu-Tang Fighting League you're talking about. Show some respect. Colby Gately says round 1 KO.
There you go.
That's what Brad likes.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. Another fight.
That's
whatever. I think these 2 fights here back to back, Wes. So I'm gonna recheck the craps table outside.
Yeah. See,
looks like we got an hour break here. Flyweight division: Bruno Gustavo da Silva versus Victor Rodriguez. You, Sean?
Good pronunciations.
That was
Victor Rodriguez.
Very, very good.
Was it good?
Yeah. Silva.
I worked with every country. Every country.
I know. It was more
Just
of like when you got into the middle name on the Bruno.
Oh,
the
really?
Bruno Gustavo.
Bruno Gustavo da Silva. I almost sound, native, if you will.
It's a native tongue.
Yeah,
I'm surprised this line is as wide as it is. I'm still not going to play it. I think Silva's getting a little too hyped up. He lost.
Who the fuck is this guy? What are you hyped up?
I mean, he's minus fucking 350.
Are you saying
we bet against him last time?
Yeah, that might be it.
Wikipedia page for him. He's too hyped up.
Wasn't Buys a fucking Munich? It might have been a Munich.
What
it was. Buys inside.
I think we all bet Buys.
I didn't touch Buys there.
I think I did.
We should have just gone Fight Doesn't Go instead of Buys inside.
This guy.
he destroyed JP Buys, who you guys all bet.
I think it's Bays.
Bays Buys. I really don't care. He's not good.
His girlfriend or whatever, wife, she's an idiot.
Yeah, he's getting dominated by her. Yeah, I mean, he's been in some close fights with some okay guys, but minus 350. I know Victor Rodriguez is not good. He's coming out of that Alaskan fighting. Or he fought once at least for the old Alaskan Fighting Championship. That's always a good sign.
Victor Rodriguez is up in Alaska fighting.
I wonder if he sticks out there at all.
I think Silva will win. I just can't lay minus 350 on a guy that's probably gonna just win a close fight.
He's 5-3. I mean, the guy just banged at the door. Just bang, let me into the apex. I want to fight.
He is apparently 7-3.
Is
All right?
anyone home?
Man,
I'm here to fight for 2-2. Let me in. That's a lot of money in Alaska.
Victor Rodriguez got knocked out by a dude named Johnny at Alaskan FC landed the Midnight Sun.
That guy was from the crowd, guaranteed.
Who
They
hasn't
pulled him up.
knocked out
First
by
round
Johnny in Alaska?
knockout.
The guy who
And
was
that-
fighting, his car broke down and didn't make fight night, so they pulled that guy out of the fucking crowd, and he got
Yeah.
knocked out by that.
Knocked out by him.
I think Bruno Silva is probably gonna knock this guy out. I don't know about first round or anything, but if I bet anything, it's gonna be Silva inside of distance.
Brad?
Yeah, this Rodriguez guy has apparently never had a fight go the distance, win or lose. So that's an interesting prospect to look at. Although the doesn't go is minus 205, under 2.5 is minus 155. Probably a little more than I want to pay for a flyweight bout. But Silva should win. I just can never trust a guy that gets tapped out by Khalid Taha ever.
That's fair. I'll take Silva. Not betting on this fight. All right, let's move on to the welterweight division and what should be a hilarious fight as we had Court McGee taking on Claudio Silva. You, Sean?
Man, I'm pretty sure I bet Claudio Silva last time against Kraus. He gassed so bad. I don't know. It's been a while since I seen somebody that gassed that bad, and Kraus it was still kind of sketchy. I think McGee has decent enough takedown defense to survive the first round. And then I just don't see how Silva isn't absolutely gassed after that. Dude's 38. He never fights. He had cardio at one point. He used to be able to kind of power through things. I don't know if he just got old overnight or he got USADA'd or what, but that was a bad look last time out. I have money on Court McGee in 2021. I took McGee by decision. I'm not playing him straight. I need a little bit more plus money to play old Court McGee. So I got a unit on him by decision at plus 234.
Wes?
Yeah, man. I don't think I can see it, man. Like Court's like 1 in fucking 5 or something over the past fucking 4 years. Just made fucking Carlos Washington look like fucking Marvin Hagler and shit. Like that's just a bad look at this point. And I mean, I get it about Claudio Silva. You're going to be holding on once this goes probably into the second round a little bit, but Claudio Silva could absolutely win those first 2 rounds, and you're going to be needing Court McGee to finish anybody, or getting a 10-8 round in the third.
He finished that needle.
Put it away for good.
They had no chance.
I'm not saying I'm betting Claudio Silva here, but man, it's tough to lay money on Court McGee at this point, in my opinion. I mean, by decision's a good bet. This if you're going to bet him, because this probably does go the 15 minutes. Man, he could absolutely lose the first 2 rounds of this guy. He is fucking terrible at this point. I'm gonna pick Silva for sure. Probably no bet for me. If I do bet, it's gonna be Silva.
Bradley?
I mean, Wes, you say that you can't see people putting money on Court McGee at this point in his career, but somehow we got Carlos Conde at even money against this dude last time out. So
it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Man, Claudio Silva he's bad. He is very, very he can do the jiu-jitsu, but he can't do the wrestle. He can't do the strike. And I don't see it. Like, I think he didn't get old overnight. He maybe got USADA. I don't like to throw that out there about guys because I think everybody should be on steroids and should continue to be on steroids.
He's old.
I just think he doesn't fight, and he got old. Yeah, he's super old. He didn't fight for like 4 years at one point. And in those 4 years, he went from being, 32 years old to 36 years old, and never learned how to get better. So it looks like just a couple of fights ago, he won a split decision over Leon Edwards. That was like 7 fucking years ago.
It was literally 7 years ago.
There you go. And never had good wrestling. Like, he's managed to drag guys to the ground. But Court McGee can actually, like, kind of wrestle. He doesn't get out-wrestled by guys. He's fought some good wrestlers in the past. I think he went pretty much even grappling with Ryan LaFleur. The only guys that have gotten more takedowns against him that I can remember are like Sean Strickland, who's a pretty good grappler. He out-grappled Brendan Allen, a couple months ago, and Sean Brady. So if you're not named Sean, then you're probably not going to out-wrestle Court McGee. And if this guy can't out-wrestle Court McGee, Wes said that he made Court McGee made Carlos Condit look like Marvin Hagler. Claudio Silva is going to make Court McGee look like Marvin Hagler in this fight. So I got Court McGee, baby. Court McGee minus 110. Court McGee by decision. I got like plus 210 on that. Let's go. Let's get it.
Yeah, I hate Court McGee. Just everything about him. I've always hated Court McGee. I've hated Court McGee forever.
I've always hated him.
Wait. Did you know that he was previously a drug addict, though?
Well, Brad, that's the main reason I hate him. Nobody likes Quitter. Everyone's excited about Diego, his boyfriend and him are separating and all that. Like, I don't like Quitter.
That's tragic.
With Court's never been good. Has he really been good? If I say, hey, what is Court good at? You'd be like, hey, pushes people.
He's good at sticking around in fights.
Yeah.
Which is all you need to do against Claudio Silva.
He's durable.
I'll say this, when I'm not including Court in at all in my breakdown. He doesn't matter. That Claudio Silva performance versus James Krause, I can't think of a worse performance. So you get knocked out in 10 seconds, whatever, you get knocked out in 10 seconds. Can you honestly think of a worse performance than Claudio Silva gave against James Krause?
What's his name? The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy that literally just died in a cage after 5 minutes. We just watched that not long ago. It's bad. It's bad though. Sarah
Moras against Vanessa Mello.
He was gassed out in a minute. In 1 minute, he was just done. And I think what Court is good at is he's gonna put pressure on you. He's gonna move forward. He's gonna touch you a little bit. He's gonna push you against the cage. He's gonna hug you. He does things that are boring that tire you out. What a perfect quality for this. Court also isn't a horrible wrestler. He's not a good offensive wrestler. He does enough to keep his fight standing. He's gonna hug you against the cage, but not get taken down. He's going to land a little shots, and I don't even know if Silva wins a round. That was the most worst human I've ever seen. Like, watching that performance makes me go, man, Jacare could win the belt. Like, that's how washed Claudio Silva was. Like, I'm watching that I bet on him in that fight. I bet on him against James Krause. And I'm watching that fight, and I was like, what is this?
Have you watched Court McGee fights lately? Because he's not looking
good. Bet on Carlos Condit against him. He was Munich.
Yeah, he looked okay in moments against Carlos Condit.
That was unfair. They paid him not to take down, just like in Kimbo.
Right. I mean, that's right. He's a company man.
Dude, that Silva, that was the worst human I've ever seen in a cage. That Silva fight versus James Krause. James Krause is completely washed, and he looked like a fucking young up and comer in that fight, like a 22-year-old.
He's a tough fight.
Spry man.
So is Court.
Now, I think Krause is a tougher fight than Court.
With all that said,
come on.
I think Court McGee is suited perfectly to win this fight. He doesn't get knocked out. He's a tough guy. He moves forward. He puts pressure on you, tires you out. Still got about 42 seconds from my calculations of gas.
I'm not betting it. I'm not betting it, so I'm not gonna not going to jinx y'all because we usually know what happens when y'all three are on one side, I'm on the other. It's usually not good. So I'm gonna let y'all have it. Yeah, really good.
If that shows you what kind of card this is, that Court McGee is Munich, I don't know what else does. So let's now move on to, we can go quick on this one. Heavyweight division, as we have Ben Rothwell taking on Chris Barnett, who looks like a giant fat piece of shit who they found in a garbage can. New Sean.
Great, love it.
I must be a casual because I don't know who Chris Barnett is. I scrolled through his fight career, and he's fought a bunch of dudes that I know. Maybe I just missed him. I'm pretty sure I watched Rise 1. Yeah, that's not a good sign. His last win was against an 0-1 fighter. The one before that, 5-3, 5-4. 4-5.
He's fighting Tony Lopez in kickboxing matches, dude. Come on.
Damn right.
Like, fuck. What do you want?
This dude is so shitty that he could walk in and maybe somehow knock him out because it's heavyweights. I don't think it'll happen. I'll take Rothwell, but I'm not betting on fucking terrible heavyweights fights.
This man's grappling fucking YOLO and kickboxing right. Tony Lopez. Like,
he's
Jesus
just expanding his horizons. Yeah. That's what that is.
This is fatties written all over it. I hope the line comes down a tiny bit more. I mean, Ben Rothwell should win this fight, but it's going to be sloppy. It's going to be slow and sloppy. I'll take a 1.5. I think it's like -140 now. It's come down a little bit. Hoping it keeps coming down a little bit more. People think that Rothwell's just going to knock him out, and I don't think that's gonna happen. At least not early anyway. So it's gonna be over 1.5 for me.
Brad, this man's got 2 nicknames: Huggy Bear and Beast Boy. It really
this guy's been around forever. Like he's been all over the place, man. He's been around forever.
He almost beat Ole Thompson. I mean, this guy's a contender. Everyone just wants to fight. Brad, what you got here?
I mean, he's lost to some quality dudes. He lost to Eric Prindle. You guys remember Eric Prindle?
The nuts.
You're lucky to walk out there with your nuts
out on the ground.
Yeah.
He broke his stick.
He lost to Ollie Thompson. He lost to Baby Fedor by split decision. Let's not talk about that one because that completely goes against my point. But he's been in there with dudes. He's usually a fat piece of shit. Like this is just an epic T-shirt in the pool division fight. Like these dudes, these dudes should be required to wear rash guards coming into the cage, just for safety reasons. All right, man. But Wes, you don't need to wait for the fatties to come down on this one. It's in range. Fatties is absolutely in range. When Barnett has actually been in there against mediocre guys, he doesn't really get out of there early. I don't think that's going to happen in this fight either, because Ben Rothwell, after that layoff, can he finish anybody?
Nope.
No, he can't. So it's going to go over 1.5. Rothwell's probably going to win a decision. It's going to be awful. But I'm going to bet on Rothwell decision. It's like plus 225 or something I saw out there.
Nice.
I'm going to bet on over 1.5 at minus 140. There's going to be some fatties happening in this one, and I cannot wait. Also, like, Barnett is just a fun dude. Like, he'll do some weird shit that a man who is 5'8" and 300 pounds has absolutely no business doing in life. So hopefully he's at least in the kind of shape where he can do something silly in the cage.
I don't have anything to add. Brad talked enough about this fight for the rest of the show, so we'll move on. I'll take Rothwell. Bantamweight division: Ricardo Lamas versus Bill Algeo. You, Sean?
I think it should be a pretty fun fight. Algeo's been in really fun fights in his UFC career. The one on the Contender Series, and then on short notice against Lamas, he kind of did what he could against a pretty tough veteran there. Spike Carlisle fight. He was able to survive the wrestling from the steroid ginger. That takedown defense is a bit concerning. I don't think Ricardo Ramos is some elite wrestler, but he gets some guys down, and he's dangerous. He's a dangerous grappler. That's what's kind of keeping me off of taking Algeo. Ramos has a bit of a sketchy chin. I think it's going to be a good fight, but I'll stay away. But I'll pick Algeo.
Wesley.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me too. I want to talk myself on Algeo as well, but man, I don't think Ramos has the takedown or the takedowns of even like Spike Carlisle, eating fucking imported mountain yams and shit. But man, if he does get it there, it's the guy's pretty good on the mat, man. So. Algeo does seem like he has some decent defense when he's on his back and in his guard and shit, but man, it's just kind of sketchy. I think Algeo is the way better guy on the feet. We've seen Ramos have problems on the feet already. It's just tough, man. I'm gonna pick Algeo, but it's really hard to bet him because I could definitely see him getting taken down and subbed out or just controlled for a couple rounds. So pick is Algeo, but probably no bet until I got about 7 convenience.
Bradley?
I am way more confident in Bill Algeo than you guys are. Ramos has so much quit in him. So much.
Algeo doesn't. Algeo does have no
exactly.
quit in him.
Apparently he's a black belt. I don't care. Whatever. He's been subbed like once or twice in his career, early on in his career, but he's been in bad spots in a lot of fights. He was in, kind of bad spots against the Jew-hating redhead Spike. Hate that dude. He was in bad spots against Ricardo Lamas on a fight that he took on like 4 days' notice and got out of those. Survived those spots. So I'm pretty sure that he could survive against Ricardo Ramos. And once you're able to survive against Ricardo Ramos, he's just like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. I'd rather throw little like tippy tap, put one leg behind the other kicks that do nothing, and try and look cool than actually do shit that's going to win a fight. And Algeo is just going to drown this dude. He's not a big finisher, but I think just the pressure and the pace that he's going to put on Ramos, come the second and third round, Ramos is just not going to want to be there. I think that Algeo might actually get him out of there late and give me even money. I took it last time when this fight was booked. I'm taking it again when this fight's booked. I like Bill Algeo here.
Yeah, kind of to echo Sean's commentary, I'm not confident this fight's going to be 15 minutes in the feet. I think Ricardo Ramos is going to be able to, make this a little bit dirty. Push him against the cage, work for takedowns, and I think he can get some takedowns. And he's very dangerous in the ground. And yes, he might be a little bit of a quitter, but offensively, extremely gifted. Very dangerous fighter. Really good on the ground. Doesn't have the best wrestling, but Algeo doesn't have the best takedown defense, and it wouldn't shock me whatsoever if Ramos takes him down and gets a submission here. And it also wouldn't shock me if he gets on top, stays on top, and wins a couple rounds doing so. And I think Algeo is one of those guys that, everyone saw him early on, and then he fights Lamas, and it was a good fight and all this. And I think he's one of the guys people want to root for and people personally like. And I don't know if he's as good as people think he is. And I think Ramos isn't great, but I think he's good. And I think good might be good enough to beat Algeo. But with that said, I think Algeo has the talent and skill to be able to win this one. And it could be on the feet. It could get to the ground. I'm just not overly confident in Algeo. If this was Algeo even like plus 125, I'd probably be on Algeo. But laying minus 120, whatever, I can't in Algeo because there is a lot of danger facing Ricardo Ramos. And he's still young. He could get better any moment. He's, 25? I think he's still really young. Guys like that who have been fighting for a while, they could hit that peak and you can just go. And I'm not overly sold now, Joe. I don't think he's over athletic. I don't think he's overly good. I think he is what he is. He's an okay striker who's very tough.
Ramos has, I will say this, even though I'm picking and betting Algeo, Ramos has some young Dubronx in him.
Mm-hmm. That should talk you out of it right there. Anyway, let's move on to the
young Dubronx.
Let's move on to the main card, where the second best fight in the card will open us up, as we have in the middleweight division, Jack Hermansson taking on Edmen Shahbazyan. Sean.
Yeah, this bout order is, of course, very interesting. As per usual, the UFC does not know what the fuck they're doing. This fight, I like Hermansson here. I still think Shahbazyan is a pretty big fraud. I think he's going to have his hands full against Hermansson. Hermansson comes forward and goes after it in the first round, which Edmen's kind of used to doing it the other way around. I think Hermansson's going to probably take down Shahbazyan. Brunson was able to do it. I don't think Hermansson's that good of a wrestler, but I think he has the capability early on to get him down, and that jiu-jitsu is pretty decent. Edmen is I think going to be in trouble on the ground. That being said, Hermansson has shown that he can gas if the fight doesn't go his way in the first round. I would hope has shored that up a little bit. I think Hermansson chokes him out or taps him out in the second round. I'm putting Hermansson in a parlay that's probably going to lose.
Wesley?
Yeah, I kind of like Hermansson here as well. I don't think he has the takedowns of Brunson or anything, but when he gets a hold of guys, he finds a way to get them to the mat and get them in his world. And, even more than Brunson taking Edmen down in that fight, I mean, he just controlled him, dude. He had no idea what to do when he was on his back. And Hermansson gets him there once or twice, and man, he's got legitimate subs. I'm still not sure how good Edmen really is. He looks good at times, but he's fighting some of the upper echelon guys at this point. And he's not looking great. So I like Hermansson here. Kind of looking at him by subs around plus 200. But I'll probably just play him straight at this point and see what that sub line does.
Brad?
I feel like the Brad Tavares win is going to be an outlier on Shahbazyan's record for quite a few years. Like, he's still young. He could develop. He could become a very good fighter. But I think that win happening as young as it did for him was probably a bad thing, because then he's been elevated to this level of competition that I just don't think he's ready for. Earlier this week, Bet Online hung a plus 400 on Hermansson by submission. So I snatched some of that because that was kind of silly. And I don't think the gassing is a problem in 3-round fights. But we've seen Hermansson go 5 rounds a couple times. We've seen him be on the losing side of 5-round fights and still fight back after he's fought or after he's lost a couple of rounds. So unless Shahbazyan lands something huge in the first round, which is absolutely possible, the kid's a talented striker. I think this doesn't go well for him. Lance, you always talk about at the lower weights, guys that have these upper body takedowns, they're usually really successful. Hermansson obviously not at a lower weight, but he uses some of those upper body takedowns, and I think he can have success with those against Shahbazyan. And once it hits the ground, I think he can wrap up a guillotine or something like that, say in a scramble, and probably put him away, especially once this gets into the second and third, because man, did Shahbazyan look bad once this got past like the 6-minute mark against Brunson. So I've got Hermansson here. Probably going to play him straight, but I do have that sub prop that's, sorry, it's I'm a fraud. It's long gone.
You are a fraud.
Thank you.
Man, I hate doing this. Got to go against you guys on this one. I like Edmen here. I don't know what it is. I think in Hermansson's losses, he looks really bad, like really bad. And, when we look at Jack Hermansson and the streak he's been on, I think the Gastelum fight was luck. I think I'll put it at luck. Going by leg lock. That's a loser way to do things.
After he got tossed.
But how he got up to, I would say, the upper echelon of this division. Look at the guys he beat. I mean, worst on worst on worst. Taoist Ladies, Meerkat who sucks, David Branch, and Jacare. That's how Hermansson got to this upper echelon of the division.
Those are elite middleweight wins, sir.
That was kind of the stamp of it, right? Yes, Edmund got Brunson. Brunson is good. Brunson is not bad. Brunson is a very good, talented middleweight. His wrestling is about 75 times better than Jack Hermansson's. I mean, he was a D1 wrestler, like maybe D2, but he was a wrestler in college. He's a wrestler. Hermansson's not. And Hermansson's definitely got some quit on him, some give up in him. And I think Edmund's going to put him in some dangerous situations early in that fight. I love to hate on Edmund like everyone else does because of Edmund. And I don't think this kid's going to be some world-class fighter or, win a belt or anything like that, but his striking is great. It is very, very good offensively. He is a very good offensive striker. Hermansson's not so good in the feet. And I think Edmund can clip him, can get him out of there. And right now, Edmund is, I think, plus 300 by knockout. And really, I see that as his only way to win.
Yeah.
And at plus 300 by knockout, when that's his only way to win, I think this fight's closer than that. So I'm going to play Edmund Nakahara plus 300. All right, let's move on. David Dvořák, who I don't know how he wins. I watch this guy. I'm like, I hate him, but he wins. Rothwell, Julian Paiva.
He outlands people a tiny bit more than
he's so boring.
Yeah, it's
we lost the bet against. There's a lot of dudes that we've lost bets against on this card.
Well, did we take Ismagulov or whatever?
I think Lance and I took Espinoza.
Or Espinoza.
But he sucks.
Espinoza's so bad. So bad. I think these guys are pretty close fighters. If I were to take something, I'd probably put fight goes decision in a parlay. It's like minus 180. Paiva goes to a lot of decisions. Since Dvořák's come to the UFC, he has not really shown any kind of ability to finish. He finished a bunch of shitty guys on the regional scene. As for a pick, I'll probably pick Paiva in Toutmaster. I think it's just going to be a close fight and probably pretty boring.
Wesley Colvin.
Yeah, I don't have too much on this. I'm going to pick Paiva as a dog in Toutmaster. I think he can just land the slightly bigger stuff. You're right about Dvořák. He just has ugly fights and does enough to steal rounds and shit, close little rounds. So I think Paiva can land the slightly better looking stuff and take a decision there, but I'm probably not betting this way.
Brad?
Yeah, don't love the fight. Don't really have a huge angle on it. I think it's going to be a competitive flyweight fight. So in a competitive flyweight fight, you're probably going to go to a decision, and I'll take the guy that's got the better odds and the better decision price. And Paiva by decision's like plus 230, plus 240 out there. So that's the most appealing to me. And honestly, he's fought the better guys and looked pretty good against those guys. He got robbed in Australia against one of the stupid shitty kickboxing guys, the little midget one.
Yeah, this fight's tough. Everything in me tells me to bet Paiva here. He has faced a better competition. He looked good against Kai Kara-France in that fight. And he's fought just way better guys. I mean, Boncaron. And then he's taking care of business where he's supposed to. I think he's the more likely finisher if this fight is finished. He does have some good jiu-jitsu. But Dvořák just seems like one of those annoying guys who I don't think is very good. That's going to win a lot of fights in the UFC. He's going to keep doing it. Who's that guy I really hate? Askar Askarov. That guy.
That guy sucks.
Who I don't think is good, but he has this weird style of point fighting that gets him decisions and makes you think he's better than he is. I kind of see him a lot like that, just more on the feet and striking and just jabbing the death, circling, and he could definitely win a decision here. That's why I'm going to pass on this. But I would not be surprised if Paiva finishes here. And if it gets up a little bit more, I'd probably definitely or not finishes, wins this fight. I would definitely take a stab. But I think at the current line at only plus 120, I don't think it's worth a stab. All right, and then these next two fights are something. Women's featherweight division: Felicia Spencer versus Norma Dumont. Oh, she got a third name now, Viana.
Did you mean the next 3 fights or something?
Carla Esparza is my girl. It's Cookie Monster.
I'm trying to lose money on Saturday, so I am betting a Canadian. I'm parlaying Felicia Spencer with Jack Hermansson. That is going to be a fucking dumpster. You just rip that ticket up. Felicia Spencer gets way too much credit for going to decision against Cyborg and Nunes. She is a good punching bag. That being said, 145 is an absolute dumpster fire, and she is much more skilled, I believe, than Norma Dumont. Norma Dumont is terrible, and I think Felicia Spencer can take her down and sub her. So I think she's going to win.
What?
But she's Canadian, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Is she really Canadian, though?
No, she's Floridian.
There you go.
But still.
Florida man?
Florida girl. She's better. Yeah, I like the sub angle here, too. Spencer's got a bunch of subs before she moved up in competition and got, like Sean said, she was just a punching bag. Yeah, I think she can take this girl down and sub her. I think subs around plus 300. I will probably sprinkle on that.
Brett?
Yeah, I did take some of that sub prop at plus 300 when it was around. I mean, one of these chicks is like French or something. Is she French? Is she Brazilian?
Dumont's Brazilian. Felicia Spencer was born in Montreal. Figure that one
Montreal?
No, I meant Dumont. I thought she was like
Sounds French.
Brazilian and French, right? Like, make up your mind. If you're gonna be Brazilian, have a Brazilian name.
Pick one. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll go with Spencer here. I threw a little bit on her by sub at plus 300, and that's probably because Turk's going to be passed out, and I'm going to have this fight on a TV while I'm in the house.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I'll pick Spencer here, but this is not a fight. I mean, it's funny. There's people like bragging on Twitter, like Canadians, no offense, bragging on Twitter, like she went to decision with Nunez and went to decision with Cyborg and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, 0-2. That is impressive.
Wait, what are the totals here?
I mean, Spencer could finish, though.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it wouldn't.
Goes is minus 145.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I'll pick Spencer here, but I have nothing. And this next fight's just trash time. We keep putting these heavyweight fights that are guaranteed to be horrible on the main card. It's pretty fun. I mean, this
not
one
just the main card, third from the top. What the fuck are we doing here?
We got women's featherweight, and then we got heavyweight, and then we got women's strawweight. This is gonna be a crap show. I'm gonna fucking hard eights all over the place. Heavyweight division: Justin Tafa facing Jared Vanderaa. You, Sean?
I have absolutely nothing on this matchup. Vanderaa is horrible.
Horrible.
So is Tafa. Tafa should beat him. That's all I got.
All right, Wes.
Yeah, I actually think this is going to be the opposite of Fatty's, and one of these dudes are going to get knocked out early. Vanderaa is just absolutely horrible. So if Tafa just can throw some punches, he's probably going to knock that guy out. I haven't played anything, but I would probably look under, if anything.
Brett.
Wes is on something tonight because
it's another Fatty's happening.
It's absolutely going to be another Fatty's. Vanderaa's losses.
He's so bad, man.
Vanderaa's losses.
Bad.
So is Tafa.
Late in round two. Decision. Late in round 5. And that's all of his losses.
All right, I'm going with Fatty's.
Tafa's losses, decision. The one that's worrying is that he got knocked out by Jorgen De Castro.
That was bad.
But if you've ever seen Jared Vanderaa throw a punch, I don't think you have to worry too much about that one. What you do have to worry about in this fight is if Vanderaa gets on top of him. That could be trouble, but Vanderaa can't wrestle, and yeah, fatties.
So bad. Jesus,
Yeah.
he's bad.
These guys both suck. Obviously, I think Tafa's the better fighter, and I think he's more likely to win. And Tafa does have decent power, and when you look at his wins and guys he's supposed to beat, he takes care of them pretty quickly. So Vanderaa's terrible. He's extremely hittable, and I don't see this one going more than a round personally. But you get you got a big giant piece of shit versus the guy who wins most of his fights early, but he hasn't won many fights. So I could also see Vanderaa getting on top of him too. So yeah, I'm not gonna bet this unless I'm just really, really
It's gonna be kind of late. It's gonna be kind of late.
It's gonna
Depends
be late.
how much you've won on the other
Yeah.
bets.
Or
I
lost.
could be taking a quick nap in the sports book at this time, so there's no telling. But I'll take Tafa by knockout in the first round. All right, women's strawweight division: Xiaonan versus Carlos Esparza. You, Sean?
Yeah, Shannon's getting hyped up from somebody.
Next champ,
some people,
baby.
Some people that allegedly watch these terrible
Like Bro
fights
Hugs?
in this division. Yeah.
Like Bro Hugs was like, Jan Janan, that's the tweet.
What? Oh my
Dude
God.
couldn't even find a bet
That's
last
sweet.
week. He's so petrified of losing, continually losing, that he
when
couldn't
someone-
even put a bet.
I'm ready to buy Marley's package. I'm serious. Hey, it's gonna
money.
be a Ben thing. And
Yeah.
you might as well fade these fucking.
Well, the best part is
That's
what
the
you do
tweet.
is you buy the premium package, you fade the bets, you
You
lose
get your
all
money
the
back.
bets, you get your money back, and you win all the bets.
That's
No,
a
you
fucking
get-
Ponzi
you get-
scheme right there,
you get
Brad.
next week's package for free, so then you're in. It
Yeah.
rolls over, baby.
Yep.
Uh,
All right, Nishan, what you got?
I'm still skeptical of Shannon's takedown defense. I know Gedalia got her down some, but she was able to stuff a bunch more. Gedalia still got like almost 7 minutes of control time. I think Esparza is a better grappler at this point in their careers. I think Esparza can get her down and lay on her and straw weight it up. I bet Esparza by decision at plus 160 for a unit.
Yeah, Michael J said Bro Hugs is giving out his bets for free now because he's a big superstar in the DFS community.
That's because he
Yeah,
had
he's
no
a goat.
clients because he lost all
No.
their money.
He's the
If you
goat.
think about like when I think of the sports gambling community, like I don't think of like nerds, right? Like I think of like regular people betting sports, whatever. The daily fantasy, those are like chess champions. Like those are like just the nerds of the nerd. Like these daily fantasy people. Like that's like a whole new level of nerdom. Man, Wes.
Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to talk myself into having something on this fight, but it's hard, man.
No, it's not.
It is, man. Like I'm not sure Esparza can get the takedowns consistently that she's gonna have to in this fight because I think she probably loses on the feet. But I'm not betting. I'm not betting the little China girl here. I want to bet Esparza, man. She just gets caught in these really close fights that these judges have just been insane lately, all over the place. So you're rolling the dice with betting.
That's why you bet her by decision and you get some plus money, so those coin
I mean,
flips are worth it.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it's tough, man, with how the judging is now. And Esparza is always in these close fights where it's almost always a split decision one way or the other. I'm picking Esparza. I'll probably talk myself into a bet on it.
Brad.
I don't give a single solitary fuck about this fight. I looked
Smart
at
man.
both of them. I looked at both of them on Tapology. I tried Steve's got the right idea. There is a million Z's in that name. And if we're being honest, it's Yan Zhang. Because in the last 5 years, they've each had one fight that has finished inside the distance. One of them, Carla Esparza, she lost 27 seconds before the bell by getting beaten up by Tatiana Suarez, who's coming back. My pick for breakthrough female fighter of the year.
So she's going up a weight division, so it
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Hopefully her neck doesn't explode on the first takedown.
And then Xiaonan was a no contest from cuts in the first round from headbutts. This is awful. And apparently the winner of this gets a title shot.
Why not? Fuck it.
Like what?
Strawweight, baby.
What the fuck are we doing?
Women's divisions are deep, real deep. Great. Yeah, I'm gonna bet on this fight. I bet Carlo Esparza almost every fight. It's one of the only women's fighters that has an actual wrestling background, and usually you get some wrestling training and stuff like that. But like she actually has an actual wrestling advantage where she can shoot takedowns, double legs, actually do takedowns, and she's one of the only ones, honestly, that has a actual wrestling background in the UFC. And I think versus this one, like I think she can get takedowns. I think she can get on top. I think she can stay on top. Where she usually loses is, if you look at her career, it's more of like the jiu-jitsu based kind of like elite type grapplers is where she usually struggles. If it's someone who's more of a striker, Carly usually finds a way to get those fights to the ground, and she can stay on ground. She has pretty good top control. She's very good at holding people down. Now, she's not good at damage when she's on top holding people down, but how many times has Carla got a takedown early in the round and held them down the whole time? It's all the time. She's getting battered on the feet. She gets takedown. She holds it down. She can win rounds. And I think in this fight, I don't think she's in danger of getting stopped, obviously. And I think she has enough of a wrestling advantage with her actual wrestling takedowns to get takedowns here, to hold her on top and win this decision. I think at plus money, I think the hype's there for Jan. I think everyone thinks she's this next big thing. She's not. And I think Carla at plus money, I think, is a must bet. Yeah. All right. Bantamweight division, main event. Pretty good fight. This card's pretty weak overall. Not a lot matters, but this fight matters-ish. Rob Font, Cody Garbrandt. Interesting. New Sean.
I think Garbrandt's best way to win would actually be to wrestle Rob Font.
Yes.
And I believe there's about a 3% chance that Garbrandt actually is going to fucking do that.
That's his IQ, 3, Garbrandt's.
The last time that he actually implemented a wrestling game was probably his like second UFC fight, and even then it was kind of just to mix it up. The dude likes to bang. He likes to hang with the boys.
The boys.
People thought that win against, I don't know. People thought that they saw a bunch of improvements from him against the Sun Sao. It was an amazing knockout. But he was getting goaded into a brawl, and sure, he does have power. If he does land, it is scary, but those defensive liabilities are 100% still there. Rob Font has shown a pretty damn good chin, really durable, and he's got some good-ass hands. I think this is going to turn into a war, and I think Rob Font is going to knock out Cody Garbrandt. I'll trust the durability of Font way more than Garbrandt. That dude is still chinny. He still leaves his chin right out there on a platter for guys to hit. I've played Font inside at plus 158 for 2 units. I was hoping I would get some plus money just on him straight, but it doesn't seem like it's going to go that way. I might just have to add some more to inside the distance.
Wes?
Yeah, I think Rob Font's going to knock out Garbrandt here. Sean's right about the last fight against the Sun Sao. I mean, Sun Sao was getting there, and he was just making Cody do the things that we've seen Cody do in fights that ends up getting his ass knocked out. I mean, every single time. And Rob Font is not the dude to be playing around with that shit. He's got great hands. He's got good power. He's durable as hell. He's got a hell of a chin on him. All of those things is what I want on a dude that's fighting Cody Garbrandt. And I mean, we know Garbrandt's got good hands and he's got some good power as well. But man, we've seen it every time he gets into a firefight. Like, what's probably going to happen at points in this fight? It doesn't go well for him. I don't think it does here either. I like Rob Font quite a bit here. I have a pretty big bet on him, and I like him inside the distance TKO as well.
Brad?
Apparently, Henanhai Yichi Jiguang is how you say hang with the boys in Mandarin. There you go.
That's nice.
Little language lesson for you guys. Another fun fact about Cody Garbrandt is that they actually cut off Sean Shirk's arms and transplanted them on to Cody Garbrandt as a baby, because that dude has some little stubs on the end of his body, and it's actually amazing that he managed to be a good bantamweight with those tiny arms, but people overblow a lot of the things that Cody's done. Some fun knockouts, the Cruz performance that everyone's like, oh man, that's the performance of his life. It's he dominated him. He dominated that fourth round, but that was actually a competitive fight.
But he dominated the dancing in that fight.
Yeah, that's the thing that people remember, is that he danced around and he made Dominic Cruz, who's not an accurate striker, miss a lot, and then would dance about it and got in his head. But anytime that Cruz actually just like threw a jab or threw a leg kick or threw any straight punch rather than like jumping into Garbrandt's counters, he was landing. Cruz landed a lot of stuff in that fight, and if he had any power at all, he probably would have knocked Cody Garbrandt out in that fight. So Rob Font, who is going to do all of the successful things that Cruz did in his best, or in Garbrandt's best performance, and none of the stupid things, none of the dancing around into counters, I think he's going to have a ton of success against Cody. There's still concern. There's still the fact that Cody's fast. He's got power. He could land something massive in the first round, but Font is very durable, and I think he's just going to jab the shit out of this dude until Cody gets fed up of getting jabbed and probably jumps into something. So I like Font here to just kind of break him down, whether he breaks him down physically or just breaks him down until Cody does something stupid, which he does in most of his fights. That is still to be determined. But either way, I think Rob gets a finish in this fight by walking Cody into something.
Yeah, I like Font here. I think it's everything you guys said. I think Garbrandt is obviously chinny. He gets hit a lot. And he gets himself into these wars, and he's just not prepared for them. You almost feel bad for the guy. Like, if he had a chin, he's probably still there, right? Like, he has the skills. He has the boxing. He's able to do it. His wrestling isn't that bad either. Like, he is a pretty good wrestler. But he gets in these firefights, and his chin cannot hold up to him. I think offensively, he can hang with anyone in these type of firefights, and we've seen that in a lot of different areas. But I think in this fight, like you guys said, Font has the better chin. He has good power, and Font's really been coming onto his own. And I think he's a guy that's a lot better than we think. He's kind of like, he's very unassuming. You don't hear much about him. He's a quiet guy, but he's got big power, and he's a good guy. And I think he's improving. And I think this fight is perfect for Rob Font. He's got a guy who's going to stand up and fight him. And, Font doesn't want to fight these wrestlers. He wants to fight guys who are going to bang with him, and banging with a guy who doesn't have a chin is usually a good thing for you. So I like Rob Font here. I think this line's only a pick 'em because Cody Garbrandt has that name. And I think people like to look at old times. And, with Garbrandt, he's not old. Like, he's not even 30 yet. He's still a young guy, but that chin has been weathered, and he gets in these firefights. He's not the smartest fighter. And I like Font here, and I think he catches him. It's around Pick'em, I think, right now in terms of the money line. It's about plus 175 on knockout. I'd probably just take it straight, to be honest, where, it's possible Garbrandt could survive here. But, yeah, I like Font here, and this is going to be the consensus bet of the week. So that is going to be on Rob Font.
Garbrandt also got wrecked by COVID. That's another thing.
He did.
That's been
good. Jack Hermansson.
Yeah.
Also,
he could barely train.
I forgot a very important piece of my breakdown. Everyone wants to talk about like how these, Font and Qatar and all these dudes are from the New England cartel. They need to rebrand as the Boston Tea Party.
Hey.
Yeah, nailed it.
I'm gonna say maybe.
It's better than New England cartel.
That's true. Well, that'll do it for this week. We appreciate you guys listening. Last week was awesome. We had Bronx winning the belt. So we really appreciate all your guys' support, listening to the podcast, rooting for our boy Bronx. There's a card this week. It's not great, but there's bets out there, so we'll be posting our bets. And we appreciate you guys listening, and we will talk to you next week.